Over to Hong Kong. Now, riot police have fired tear gas at protesters during another weekend of rallies in the financial hub as pro-democracy protesters defied warnings to cancel a march. Policemen also forcefully cleared the barricades, which anti-government demonstrators have been using to block roads in the territory. The fresh demonstrations came after the city's leader, Carrie Lam, pledged she would not grant concessions to the protesters as their movement enters its third month. Activists gathered on Saturday afternoon in the city's Tai Po district to stage a march despite police denying them a permit. Facing off against officers who held up signs warning, "Disperse or we may use force." The 10th weekend that demonstrators have taken to the streets in a movement that began in opposition to a bill allowing the extradition to mainland China, but it has become a call for greater democratic freedom. Protesters had gathered in various locations across the financial hub, despite being denied a permit by the police in at least one location. While the city has been witnessing growing tension and repeated clashes between the protesters and the police, there are many who back police action to control the pro-democracy activists. In the morning, many residents bought flowers, fruits and other refreshments and gathered at the Central Police Station of Hong Kong. Residents gave blessing cards and letters of sympathy to the police to show their support for the police officers who are working in the front line amid the ongoing unrest in the region.
香港呢不能这样子乱下去，因为最终得益的不是香港人，香港人会集体遭殃。我们觉得必须是要止暴这个治乱，然后我们要支持警察。
The protest might continue to defy the might of Beijing, but it is clearly polarizing the city at large and deepening the fault lines between those seeking greater autonomy and the ones who do not see a future without China in it. Thousands of opposition supporters have rallied in Moscow for another weekend of protests. This is the fourth consecutive weekend of protests in the Russian capital. Protesters are demanding that opposition candidates be allowed to run in Moscow's local elections in September. Protesters are also demanding that political prisoners be released and that violence and detentions against protesters be investigated. Protests are planned in at least 40 other cities to show support for Moscow despite thousands of detentions by police officers. Now remember, last week police came down heavily on protesters. Several were beaten up and thousands were detained.
Технические неполадки. Специалисты говорят, что это, видимо,